So in this video, I'll be showing you exactly the step-by-step framework that you can use to get your marketing agency to $10,000 per month. Now, I'm not going to be here to give you some generic advice and things that are kind of vague. I'm going to be giving you the exact framework that I used and many other agency owners that I know and that I coached used to hit $10,000 per month. So I'm going to be giving you exactly step-by-step from the client acquisition, setting up the offers, the niches that we use that worked for us. So stick till the end because I'm going to simplify everything, the entire process. And that is something that you can take and you can apply right away. And in some instances, some of these people applying these same exact concepts manage to reach $10,000 in pure cash collected in less than 20 days. So it's extremely, extremely hard not to achieve that. Granted that you have the right mindset, you're willing to work hard and you're consistent. So when you start an agency, the most important thing that you need to focus on in the beginning would be the niche and the offer. So which niche, who are you targeting, and what are you offering those people? If these two elements are not dialed in from the beginning, it's going to be very hard to scale. So how do you actually find a good niche? A good niche, in my opinion, is a niche that, whether it's saturated or not, has a solution that you can solve. So what I like to do, and what a lot of the coaching clients that I have, the people that I coach and that I help, I always tell them to go for contractors, because the main service that we give those people is performance marketing related. So Facebook and Google, it is a blessing and a curse at the same time, because it is easy to sell, because when you sell a solution that brings in more money, it is much easier to sell than a solution where there's no direct return on ad spend. So I'm not gatekeeping any of the niches. The niches that I've used and that have worked for me are basically tree cutting, land clearing, home improvement. Some niches that work really well that some of my clients have used are home improvement, HVAC, roofing. Those tend to work really, really well. You might hear and say, oh, these are saturated niches, but hey, listen, like car washes, blow dryers, hairdressers, these are niches and businesses that have been going on for hundreds of years, some of them hundreds of years, like for example, barbers. But the reason why they still work is that once a niche is proven to work, it doesn't matter how many people try to start their business model. You can always do it better. You can always do it more efficiently. You can always be more disciplined than them. So me personally, I'd always choose a saturated niche that has proof of concept than a blue ocean niche where you have to test things from scratch if you want to make money fast. So how did we actually go ahead and land those clients? So what I did was I started off with cold calling. So the two main methods, and the best in my opinion, I have tried multiple client acquisition strategies, and the two that I have tried that have worked the most for me are cold calling and ads. So you basically want to start with cold calling because that is the lowest barrier to entry. But the thing is, it's a numbers game. And if you do enough cold calls, you will sign a client. A lot of the people who say, oh, cold calls don't work, they don't have the grit. So you've got to have a mindset of, I really, really need to rip out a number. I need to rip out 100 calls a day, 200 calls a day, and be an absolute animal. Now, of course, you need to make adjustments to your scripts, but essentially the script, I'll just give you an example. You can start off the script by saying an opener like, hey, is this John from Tal's Roofing Construction? Yeah, this is Sarek. I was wondering if you could maybe help me out for a moment. Yeah, I was wondering who would be in charge of potentially signing 5 new roofing jobs that if you guys have capacity. And they say, yeah, that's me. And then you go into the pitch. Here's what we do, etc. No matter how good your script is, it's going to fail more than it's going to work. But the most important thing is doing a lot of cold calls. And let me just give you some numbers to track in our agency. So out of every 20 conversations are not calls that you make, but people that pick up the phone, you should be booking at least 2 to 3 meetings. Those are the average numbers that you can follow.
If you're running an agency that's still stuck below $10,000 per month, and you simply cannot scale beyond the first few payments that you received, then hear me out. You've probably tried a few outreach methods, landed some clients, but you were unable to scale past that point. And you hit the ceiling simply because that entire method is simply not scalable. Now, the reason why some of our clients like Alex are able to get more than $35,000 of cash collected in under 2 months is because we installed an entire client acquisition system based on paid advertising. And on top of that, we install an infrastructure of closers, sellers, and service delivery experts. So if you're really serious about this agency thing and you want to scale it to the next level, then check out the link in the description, book a call with me to find out more.
And if you're new, I know a lot of people don't like this, but if you are good at what you do, and if you have a good offer, please feel free to do testimonials, because in the beginning, you don't have a lot of clients, you have free time essentially, but think of it, a free trial, as somebody who is guaranteed to pay if you deliver what was promised. And a bonus tip is you always want to sign a contract with that client. Why? Because whenever you sign a contract, it feels a bit rough for them to back away from it. You can do cold calling And the bottom line of it is consistency, ripping high numbers, and doing it over and over and over again, because it's really mentally draining. And this is why this entire agency thing is more of a mindset thing, just like in other business ventures. Another thing that really will save you a lot of time, it is actually pointless to go on Google Maps and try to call the offices and have them transfer you to your boss. Just go on Fiverr or Upwork, look up a lead generation expert and tell him to generate you the owners of a specific niche in a specific country. So for example, if you're targeting roofers, you can say, I want roofers in the city of Miami, and I only want the owners, co-owners, founders, co-founders. He'll give you a list that has their personal phone numbers, and go ahead and call these. Calling random numbers of Google Maps, I've tried it. I've wasted a lot of time with it in the beginning. So if you're calling owners all day long, you will secure a few meetings, you will sign a few clients. Now, once you sign 2 to 3 clients, take that money and invest it into ads. So running ads has been the most profitable way for us to sign clients. So running ads is best. You always want to save up some budget. However, if you don't know what you're doing, if your ads are bad, if your offer is not dialed in, you're probably going to lose a lot of money. So you need that is something that you need to research a lot. The most important thing when running ads is having an offer, a very, very good offer, something that we actually want to buy and something that is time-proof. I have another video on offers that you can check out. And you also need to have good creative. So somebody who talks well in front of the camera, you know, the ad creative should have a good hook to grab attention, and also how you handle leads. So we have the portion of the ad creative should be good, but also you should also be calling leads within 5 to 10 minutes as soon as they fill in, because Alex Hormozi says that whenever you leave a lead for more than 2 hours, you have a 381% chance of them not converting. So you can basically 4x your revenue simply from just being in front of your desk and calling leads as soon as they come in and trying to close them. And as the more money you make from ads, the more you can reinvest. So let's say you're spending $1,000 per month. Usually in the beginning, if you spend $1,000 and you're doing everything right, you should be making between $4,000 to $6,000. But I would suggest, if you want to scale fast, you can take that money, the first amount of money that you make, and reinvest it back into the ads and make even more. And that's how fast you scale. However, let me just give you 2 very, very important tips, other than, of course, calling the leads really quickly. Always make sure that you collect payment on the call, so make them actually pay on the call if they say yes. And in addition to that, make sure that you have a fresh batch of creatives every 10 days. We've seen this happen a lot with our clients. We launch a good offer, we launch a lot of ads, but they fatigue really quickly and we don't have a batch that is ready. And then we lose our momentum because now we have to pause the ads, we have to film new ads, we're spending a lot of money on ads, but they're not working. So make sure that you have that dialed in. So 4 to 5 creatives at least every 10 days would be what I would recommend. So like I said, some numbers and some metrics to track. For cold calling, I would say if you do 2 to 3 hours of consistent cold calling for a whole month, you should make $5,000 easily. Easily. You just have to be consistent. You just have to follow up with people. And look, whether it's cold calling or ads, you have to follow up extensively. So if somebody, hops off of a call or doesn't hear back from you or no shows, always keep following up. It doesn't matter how much, because I have made so much money and I have closed so many clients and I've seen people close so many clients from being relentless at follow-ups. It's more of a mindset and endurance game than it is anything else. So the last important point that I want to touch on is basically going to be the service delivery. This is the part where a lot of people overlook. Now, I have spoken to a lot of business owners and they always complain about how bad the agencies that they have worked in the past. And I'm somebody who obsesses over giving them a good service, because trust me, good service delivery and efficient service delivery will make you more money in the long term than new clients will. Because if you're able to keep your clients, let's say for example, a client will pay you $1,500 per month. Signing a new client may give you more of a dopamine rush, may give you more of achievement, but actually having your current clients pay you next month is actually cheaper, less time consuming and less draining, and actually good for the longevity of your company. So it doesn't matter how many clients you sign, if the ones you have are already leaving, you're basically just running in circles and not achieving anything. A few quick tips when running Facebook ads for local businesses like we do is always try to pump out a lot of creatives. So a good framework that we use is that whenever we sign a client, we would ask them to send us B-rolls or footage of them doing work. And if you don't have that, we can just look it up online. Then we have an AI, we write an ad script, and then we put it in 11 Labs or any AI voiceover system. We use 11 Labs, but you can use whatever you want. And another thing that really works for us is pumping out a lot of creatives. The more creatives you pump out for the client, the more leads they will get, the more jobs they will close. And this brings me to my last point, which is hires. I would say the two most important hires in the beginning are video editors and an appointment setter. So when you sign your first client, part of the service delivery will be creating ads, and you need a video editor to basically create the ads. The second most important hire is that the same way that you need to call your leads for your own agency when running ads, you need to call the leads quickly for your client and actually book them appointments directly into their calendar. So we would put them in a group chat, they get a lead, we call them, we figure out a time, we have access, of course, to the availabilities of our client and the calendar. We call them, we book a time slot, and then your client can actually go and meet the interested prospect, and hopefully they can close them. And again, this is why I love working with contractors, because the average lead, if it is closed, it's at $30,000, $40,000. So even if you're getting 20 or 30 leads and they close 2 jobs, that's almost 100 grand or 60 grand or 70 grand in revenue. And we also have some contractors who do jobs for $400,000, $500,000. So imagine getting them 100, 200 leads, what that would do for their business. So in the beginning, when it's the first and second and third client, you can do the appointment setting yourself. After that, hire a full-time appointment setter, which is part of the service delivery. So once you have the service delivery locked in, now you can focus on scaling, and then you can hire more people. Okay, guys, I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any type of questions, please leave me a comment. I respond to all comments. And if there's anything that you would like me to cover, please feel free to suggest. And yeah, if you genuinely enjoyed the video, make sure that you give it a like and subscribe. It really helps the algorithm. I would really appreciate that, okay? Have a wonderful day, and until the next one.